Hey everybody out there, Chris and Mike here, and welcome back to another Dark Avenger Comic Book review. In this video, we are going to be reviewing the books that came out of Marvel on the week of April 9th, 2014. And guys, we had more Marvel than DC this week, so we got a fair amount of books. As always, your comments are always welcome. Thank you guys so much. I'm glad everybody's enjoying the new format to this channel, and we will continue to give you guys more and more videos as time moves forward, as soon as we get used to this new schedule. And we'll go with that from there. We want to see a month's worth of these videos because we have that big monthly recap at the end for Xenoscope, Transformers, and Star Wars. We're going to see how that goes. And then we'll see if everything works out perfectly. Then we'll start adding new stuff as we go. And the podcast is coming. I don't want to give a date, but it's probably going to be next week. So be ready for that. Okay, let's get into the books. Biggest disappointment this week for me was the all-new X-Men 25th Extravaganza issue. The artwork was the only thing that was not disappointing. You had a lot of really awesome, talented artists in this book. So the one thing I can say was bad about this book, and that actually gives this book an average rating of a 3 out of 5, is the artwork. The artwork's beautiful. J. Scott Campbell actually has a page in here. I'll give you guys the page by J. Scott Campbell. I don't know if you guys had the same problem, but in the middle of my book, the middle 2 pages, kind of the middle section was not stapled in.
Oh, wow.
So, here's J. Scott Campbell's artwork in this book. Another awesome page was actually, I believe, the loose page, as a matter of fact, if I do remember correctly.
Yeah.
No.
What was the other?
This page.
Yeah, that one.
There's some really nice artwork in here. Now, what's the story? Are the all-new X-Men even in this issue? No. This entire issue is Beast talking to some man who's in the shadows, and we don't know who he is until the end of the issue. And I'm going to spoil it for a reason. This is all about the man in the shadow telling Beast he's screwed up, and then he shows Beast all the bad things that are going to come from him bringing the X-Men from the past to the future, or the present. And then Beast's like, this isn't what I wanted, and he's like, show me what I wanted, the reason. And he shows him all the happy times and all the good things, and the weirdest kind of artwork I've ever seen before. I don't know how this was part of a flashback, these past couple of pages, whatever. But then we go back to Beast, and he finds out that the man that's cloaked, or in the shadows, he says, because of what you did, all those happy things you just saw, they're never going to happen. And Beast is like, then help me fix it. Help me put it back. And then we find out, spoiler alert, not really, but spoiler alert, the person in the shadows was the Watcher. And he says, I'm the Watcher. I do not act. And you disgust me, Hank McCoy. And then he disappears. So we read this entire 25th annual $5 book just to hear that the Watcher is disgusted at what Hank McCoy did.
Isn't the Watcher usually in the What If comic books?
Yeah,
why is
but to hear the Watcher is disgusted in Beast,
yeah,
that's something. Wow, I never saw the Watcher say he was disgusted at anyone. This is a first. And to be honest, you're paying $5 for the artwork. You are not paying for a story, because all you're seeing is the same BS that we've been seeing in all new X-Men. Beast wanted to travel back in time, bring the past X-Men to the present, show them what happened, and then basically send them on their way, and the entire future of the mutant kind and X-Men will be changed forever, and everybody will be happy. And that crap just don't happen. Now, we all know the Watcher is going to die. And he's appearing in a lot of books, bringing a lot of suspects. Could Original Sin, which this is a sin, that Beast brought the past X-Men to the present, could the person, the culprit who killed the Watcher and the originator of sin, be Beast? That was what this entire issue could be about. And we don't know. But I'm telling you guys, is it worth $5? If you like looking at gorgeous artwork, absolutely. If you're looking for story, skip it. You don't need it. There's no reason for this $5 book, especially because there's another $5 book that is worth your money, but we'll get into that towards the end of the video. All New Ultimates issue number 1. I jumped into this because the Ultimate Universe is starting over again, and you figure, hey, now's the perfect time to jump onto everything. Give it a shot. There's only 3 books. FF, Ultimates, and Miles Morales Spider-Man. This book definitely is in the lower tier of the 3 because of the artwork and the everywhere and back again story and the whiny Kitty Pryde. What did we read here? What do you get out of this issue? Basically, you get a defunct Ultimates team, new Ultimates team. Here's an example. I want to show you guys some examples of the artwork. I mean, here's Miles here with his friend at the bottom of the page. And gang got jumped, and there's a new gang. Apparently, when S.H.I.E.L.D., what do you call it? No longer, they closed shop. Roxxon's protection closed shop, and there's this gang that took over all of their labs, and now is taking all of their experiments, and they're experimenting on each other and people who want to be a part of their gang, and they basically want to take over New York. So this is the big first mission for the Ultimates. Sticks and Stones also plays a part in this a little bit. For no apparent reason, Jessica Drew cuts her hair and no longer goes by the name Spider-Woman. She's now Black Widow. And when she sees Cloak, she's like, relax, it's me, it's Spider-Woman, call me Black Widow. The only explanation you get in this book. No explanation why she wants to be Black Widow. No explanation to what caused this idea. No explanation to where she came up with anything. It's just call me Black Widow. That's all it is. And even Cloak's like, okay.
Unless in the next issue. Because they always explain things in the next issue.
Maybe, but it just was literally handed us. She's Black Widow now. The end. No explanation. And then, of course, they all get into a situation that's a bit over their heads, so to speak. And that's the end of the issue. So it was an everywhere issue. I don't know if I'll be here for the next issue. I'm up in the air right now. I want to see how the other Ultimate books do. And then I will weigh in which books I like, which books I didn't. Remember, guys, there's a lot of #1s coming. There's the weekly Batman Eternal series, which we will get into in the DC section, by the way. Check that out. It's going to be the next video. There's another weekly series coming next month. There's a third weekly series coming in the fall. There's Original Sin. And there is 5 years later coming in September. Books, if they don't hold me, aren't going to be kept on the review. However, I would say it was an average read. I would definitely say check it out. Form your own opinion. It is the first issue. And let us know in the comments below what you guys thought of All New Ultimates #1. We'll see if issue 2 makes it. This is your book.
Yes.
And while you do that, I'm going to get a drink because I feel a little dry-throated.
Okay, so while you do that, I'll be explaining All New X Factor, issue number 6. To be honest with you guys, I read this book, and throughout this whole book is mostly
This is shocking for me.
Yeah, this is mostly talking and less action, really, which was really something else. We do get the character, which I was right about. It is Cypher. That was from the end of the page. And I thought it was Longshot. If I didn't do my research, I would have been pissed off if I didn't know that was Longshot. But in the beginning, he gets this dream of saying, you know, after the dream of saying, that's it, I'm just going to jump off a cliff, and basically wanted to cause suicide. Until the All New X Factor team came and...
showed up out of nowhere.
Yeah, and wanted to talk to him. Meanwhile, there's a thing between Harrison Snow and his wife, Linda. They have a little bit of a talk with each other. And if you want to read more about that, you can read the book. So, basically, he's talking about the last time they fought Magnet, or Magus, of why he has these dreams. That it changed him in some way. And Danger sees right through him that there's something inside of him that needs to be taken out. And what Danger does is that she takes it out of him, and he wants to know just, you know, why it was in there, or how actually it got into him, and why Magnus really did this is really the whole explanation of the book. So they go to this place where they meet up with Magus, who they met up with. Then we go back to Harrison Snow with his wife, who's what's the thing? Assuming that the secretary slept with him, which was a
one of these.
It's a whole big spiel thing, and Magnus is actually friendly. And I'm saying, a villain friendly. There's something weird going on here. So he summons Warlock, and he tells Doug the reason why he did this was he wanted to be connected to his friend. And he sounds like Tarzan. His dialogue is so like Tarzan, like me, you, and all that stuff. And there's a whole big dialogue between them, and he tells his father that he wants to leave him to, you know, be with Cypher, or Doug they call him for short. And who didn't see this coming? Cypher and Warlock, which I'll surprise Warlock, is now on the X Factor.
Go figure.
It's like offer after offer after offer. It's like, let it gradually go a little bit before you get new... I mean, I know you want to get more teams on there and everything, and it's a shocking Warlock was going to be it, because I knew Cypher was going to be it. I mean, that was definitely predictable, but Warlock was a real shock. But 4.5 out of 5, great artwork, and just more action next time would be nice. But I'm still loving the book. Absolutely.
Captain Marvel issue number 2. This was another great issue. It's so good to finally get the Captain Marvel series that we should have gotten in the previous volume that we didn't, due to artwork, which then led into bad storytelling. So in this issue, Carol is in space, and she's transporting the alien that was sent to Earth to, I forgot where she was transporting it to, but basically she meets up with the Guardians of the Galaxy after a high-end fight between herself and these smugglers. She ends up in their space, and they get the okay to blow her to smithereens. That doesn't happen. Enters then, of course, the Guardians of the Galaxy, her future team. She goes on the ship. They help repair her ship from all the damage, and then Rocket sees Carol's cat, calls him a, well, what was it called? Flurkin? And she's like, no, it's my cat. He's like, no, that's a Flurkin. And he tries to kill it, and he's shooting at it and everything. And apparently it wakes up the person in a coma, the alien that was in a coma that was in Carol's ship. There's a whole bunch of dialogue about who the alien is. I forgot who. That the alien's from a poison planet. Basically, it was poisoned by the... who was it poisoned by?
Ergo?
No, not Ergo. By a plague. It was wiped. The planet was wiped out by a plague. The survivors fled, and the ones that stayed died. And basically, the female alien thinks that Carol's giving him over to the alien over to the Spartax because they're the reason for a lot of the problems. And she goes to try to kill Pete. Carol tries to get in the way before Pete gets shot, and then the alien steals her ship and her cat. And that's basically the long and short of it. There's a lot of dialogue in here, and I love Rocket's dialogue, and I really don't want to give too much away there, but all in all, this was a very enjoyable issue. Finally, a Captain Marvel book that I could say I will be picking up the next issue. This has made the pull list for sure, and I just can't wait to see where this is all going to go. Also, it's going to be fun to see Carol joining the Guardians of the Galaxy, I believe in the next issue, as a matter of fact. That's coming out in about 2 weeks. So I'm excited to see that. Venom, it's going to take a lot of warming up to get used to Venom on a Cosmic team. But all in all, Captain Marvel was a good read. A quick read, but a very good read nonetheless.
Yes. And speaking of long dialogue and an origin story, we get Iron Fist issue number 1 from the all-new Marvel Now, which was actually really good.
You're one of the only ones that liked it. I talked to a few people on Comic Frontline, and everybody who read it so far said they were amped with it.
Well, maybe because of the artwork. I mean,
yeah, dark.
I mean,
dark
artwork
came
is like dark and everything, but it really talks about his origin story, about where his father, his brother, and his mother were going on a hike on a mountain one time, and then his childhood life is just so like emotional. Like you feel his like the emotion for the character. Like I felt so bad for him throughout the whole thing of. You know, like he's like this person, like he just stares out stuff, like there's nothing in life really for him.
Yeah, he looks bored.
I know, and it just goes back to the story about how and you know how his father died and everything, and you know losing his family throughout that whole thing. And then there's let me show you some artwork, by the way, which like we said before,
artwork isn't as sketchy as I originally perceived it to be.
Well, not really sketchy. It's like more like a little bit dark in like a good way, and it shows about how he uses his powers of you know against the army and everything, which was cool. And they keep showing this building, the Rand building. So I have a funny feeling that the Rand building is going to play a really huge role in that. Although it did talk about it of why it's still there. So after meeting the robot, Iron Fist didn't have powers, but then he did after a while. Like. It was like a back and forth thing, and now basically he just wants to, you know, it's time just to go back to go home, really. Just basically to find out more information about his origin life and everything. You know, like a big time message, and he has to get back to Kunlun, where the whole thing happened, to get the big message of maybe answers. But this was really great. I really enjoyed it. I mean, I found nothing wrong with this issue. I mean, yeah, there's long dialogue and the artwork is kind of dark, but all in all, I felt it to be a really interesting book. I'm looking forward to reading the next issue and further on.
I have a number 1 as well. Nightcrawler issue number 1. So Nightcrawler's back from the dead now from Amazing X-Men. We do have one more Nightcrawler story though in the next Amazing X-Men coming out next week. But guys, first of all, you get hit with really awesome artwork at the very beginning. Chris Claremont. And it's really good from beginning to end. You see Nightcrawler training with Wolverine, and you get a little bit into Wolverine too. So for those of you that didn't know, Wolverine lost his X-Factor. Yeah, it definitely is mentioned here a lot. And also, I said X Factor, didn't I?
You did.
His healing factor. And unfortunately, kind of with the change in his losing his healing factor, his personality definitely did take a huge change. Also, if pushed too far, he kind of loses control again. And he had that under check for a long, long time. But now that he lost his healing factor, his temper, I feel, well, it's mentioned here, his temper has lost a lot of its keep also. So Nightcrawler does a little bit of a tour of, you know, the Xavier School, or not the Xavier School anymore, the Jean Grey School, I should say. And he's, you know, comparing to, you know, how things have changed so much. He has a little bit of dialogue with Rachel. Apparently he had a girlfriend at some point, and he went to go see her, Amanda. And then they get attacked by some random guy in a mech suit. The rest of the issue is mostly a fight. And then basically him and Amanda decide to team up together to find out where that mech came from and why it targeted her. However, I don't think she was the target. I believe it's going to be Kurt. And also, Nightcrawler has his little BAMFs following him around, so we get to see a lot of the BAMFs, and it's fun. I do like having the BAMFs in it. I'm definitely hooked for a little while to see what's going on, and it's very interesting, actually. You should have read it also. I should have given it to you to check over, because I really enjoyed this issue, and I think that it has a lot of potential, and let's see where it goes. It's definitely not going to be a one-shot, you know, one issue, one story. It's already going into a parted story, so that's very good. At least it's going to have some continuity with it, you know, one after the other, instead of like Black Widow, which was one issue, one story. or Moon Knight. 2 books to go.
Alright, The Superior Foes of Spider-Man, issue number 11. And I thought this was going to take place after Hercules met with the Sinister Six. But it actually doesn't do that. It actually takes place at a clinic where these people are talking about how Spider-Man has changed throughout. Well, first of all, it talks about the grizzly bear, about how his story about when he listens to childhood music and he kidnaps people, but he doesn't kill them. Basically, he just uses their money to get food, and he talks about how he was wrestling and how his wrestling stuff. You know, you could read all about it really to understand it. And then here is the superior Spider-Man, and talks about how he was how he just changed throughout all these years, and he didn't want to talk more about it. So then Norton was a really interesting character because he talks about when he met him before, the Peter Parker version, about how he was being sarcastic and everything, along with him being the looter. He was known as the looter, Norton. Then when we met him again, if you notice, he's in a superior costume, and then he just breaks his arms, he claws him to death, and he just beat him up really bad.
That reminds me of what happened in Superior Spider-Man.
Right. And he just said that he just wanted to escape from Spider-Man because he was afraid that he was going to actually kill him for so many reasons. It's just, the crazy, violent, out-of-control Spider-Man inside is just in the suit or something. I mean, it didn't really...
So it's not even part of the people that were in it. It's just literally a meeting about Spider-Man.
Just people at a clinic just talking.
So it's not even about the characters from the main story. How is this one of your top books?
No, I said it was an average read.
Oh, it was an average read. What was your top book then?
I told you.
Iron Fist?
No, X Factor. I said it was 4.5 to 5 out of 5. Iron Fist is...
Oh, I went backwards, didn't I? So this was your least favorite.
Almost least favorite. I mean, I liked how they talked about Spider-Man because it's a superior foes of Spider-Man. It's in continuity about Spider-Man in his superior form. So, in some essences, it makes sense, but it was alright. I wouldn't say it was my least.
Gotcha. Now, the book you should have spent your $4.99 on this week is Daredevil 1.50, the 50th anniversary special. There's 3 stories in here. Not 1, not 2, but 3. Well, 2 stories and an article. First story is Matt in the future. Is it the definite future? Of course not. This is Marvel. Nothing solid. So Matt is now a father. And we don't know who the mother is.
Really?
They shade it out every time the mention of the mother comes up. They don't say who she is. She's just labeled as she. Even pictures are covered over. Apparently, Matt's son, however, inherited all of his abilities, the enhanced sight, enhanced everything, to the point where it took Valeria Richards, part of the Fantastic Four, which is the daughter of Mr. Reed Richards and Invisible Woman, Sue Storm, to cure him. However, it left a forever mark on him, a scar, where every time he hears a noise, he freaks out, no matter what. He always flinches when something comes close to him, because everything was so heightened that he had a really, really bad experience. So we find out about Daredevil being the mayor for a time. Then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, everybody loses their sight. There's an explosion, and everybody goes blind except Daredevil because Matt's already blind. And it turns out that the culprit, first of all, the artwork, gotta show you guys, spectacular. Also, the artwork on the cover, nice, huh? Already got fingerprints on Daredevil. Marvel just doesn't want to listen about these covers. Whatever. I don't care. So anyway, it turns out the person who's behind all this is... What's her name? Jubla Pride. Jubula Pride. The Owl's daughter. And basically, she blames Matt for what happened to her father. And she won't stop until he's dead. She's gonna love him until death, or some weird crazy stuff like that. So she did this to bring Daredevil out of retirement because Matt retired when he had his son, And then to save people, actually, Matt sacrificed something very dear to himself. I'm not going to say what it is, but at least in the end, he was very worried that his son wasn't going to, you know, ever show any hint of courage like what happened, or fearlessness like what happened with Matt. And then in the end, he kind of gets that. So that's kind of a touching story. Then we get a little bit of an article about Stana Morgan, about her marriage to Matt Murdock. And it turns out it's a last will and testament. And then the last story, which was the funny one, but still my least favorite, and I'm sure we talked about this in the group me chat. Kat said this also was her least favorite, but it's about Matt faking himself having a twin brother. Matt was basically his twin brother, and this was to kind of get everybody off Matt Murdock to believe that his twin brother, Mike Murdock, was really Daredevil.
Wow.
And it's a video that he shot, that him and Foggy are watching. It came out of, who gave the tape to them? The Baxter Building. So, they found, one of the Fantastic Four people gave it to Foggy and Matt because it was apparently collecting dust in the Baxter Building. So basically he kept it there but never implemented it. And it was basically his way of faking having a twin brother, and it's a whole story about the twin brother being Daredevil. He turns into Daredevil, goes swinging around, and he gives a nice message at the end, but really it was more of a corny kind of like, this was how Daredevil was kind of faking, you know, out that Matt Murdock isn't Daredevil, that it's somebody else. And it failed because now in the end the whole world knows that Matt Murdock is Daredevil. All in all though, artwork, story, 50 years of Daredevil. There's so many different covers you guys could have chose from. I believe this cover is...
about the artwork in Spirit Photos?
Yes.
I said the artwork.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
This is a variant. This isn't the original cover. I wish they would have had a cover gallery at the beginning, which they did not. I don't believe. Let me make sure. Wait, maybe they did. I think they did.
Did they?
I believe they did. I thought they did. No, they did not. Maybe it was at the end of the book. Could have sworn somewhere there was a cover gallery for all the covers of Daredevil, but I guess I was wrong. But there were a ton of different covers you could have chosen from, and each one was a different era in Daredevil. There was this one which had the Fantastic Four, Spider-Man, Foggy on it, basically recapping everything that's been going on with Daredevil, and then there was just a standard Daredevil one. I love this cover, so this was the cover I got. Same price as all the other covers, so I had to get it. I love this issue. This was my favorite book as far as the annuals this week. Nightcrawler was really good as well, but this is my top Marvel book because it's Daredevil. This book was done brilliantly. It was done the right way and well worth your $5 in my opinion. I really enjoyed it. And with that, that's it for this week's Marvel review. Don't forget to check out Comic Related and ComicFrontline.com. Together we are your #1 source for comic-related news, reviews, and a whole bunch more. Feel free to leave your comments below, and your comments will be answered and heard. I will be reading all your guys' comments on the weekly rundown this Friday. So if you have any questions, recommendations, comments, likes, dislikes, agree or disagree with anything I say, feel free to leave it in the comments below, and I will reply to you guys on the weekly comic book haul. So until next time, everybody, we'll see you in the DC comic review if you're going to be sticking around. If not, until next time, everybody, keep reading, keep collecting, and we will see you guys in the next review. Take care, everybody.
Later, guys.